everyone. It's been like a few days, whatever. Hope you guys are doing well. I saw this reading done by Dinah's Wisdom. Her readings are really good. Follow her. They're very long, and I love that. They're very descriptive. Each pile could easily be like an hour long, and I love how much detail she puts in. But I watched this video last night. It's probably an old video, but I came across it yesterday, and it was just about meeting your future spouse's parents. I feel like that's very important. Meeting the in-laws, even if they're not your in-laws yet, if like, you know, you guys are dating and you're just like, oh, I want you to meet my parents, because I know for one thing, I've never been in a relationship before, like ever, so even though I'm not even with my person yet, I'm just dreading almost the day when we are dating and he's gonna be like, I want you to meet my parents, and I'm like, shit, how do you meet other people's parents? How do you do that? Like, how do you do that? Because of course, they're gonna be like, oh, are you good enough for my kid or whatever, so I figured I'd just do a reading on that and just kind of see how will it be like for you guys meeting your future spouse. I'm not going to specifically go into, oh, the mom or the dad, because it could easily be a single parent, it could be two moms, it could be two dads, it could be an aunt or an uncle, it could be grandparents, whatever. But like whatever parental figure, legal guardian basically that they have that they want to introduce you to, we're gonna look into that. Okay, so I noticed some cards did have like either very masculine, like father figure type of traits, or mother figure type of traits, so I'll address it if it comes to mind, but don't get hung up on gender, because everyone's situation is different and they might not, you know, they might not have the traditional mom and dad. Okay, so just putting that out there. So pile number 1, this like vintage pearl bracelet. Pile number 2, the purple bracelet, and pile number 3, this marble white bracelet. Okay, let's get started with pile number 1 on meeting your future spouse's parents. Okay. We have the Temperance, which is Sagittarius energy, the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy, the 9 of Wands, and the 6 of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, the 7 of Swords on its side. I always look at it if it's on its side. The 4 of Wands in the reverse, the Knight of Wands. Do they like you or not? Simple question. Abundance, okay. Get more information in the reverse. And it's up to you in the reverse. And then how they view the connection. Stay optimistic about your love life in the reverse. Let me see how well you can see these cards. Oh, cool, you can practically see all of them except for... Let's do that. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. So, honestly, I feel like your future spouse's parents, your in-laws, I feel like they're very powerful in a way. I mean, like, they could be very religious, very traditional and practical type of people, with that Hierophant card. And like, okay, well, let me kind of start from the beginning though, because I don't want to go all over the place. For one thing though, I feel like in general, the feelings will be mutual. Like, I feel like when you guys meet each other, it'll be mutual. So, like, say if you're nervous to meet them, they'll be nervous to meet you. Like maybe your future spouse will talk you up to them and be like, oh, this person's amazing, I love them so much, whatever. And they're like, oh my god, I can't wait to meet them. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Like, I hope they like us, you know? Which is funny because you know how usually it's like, yeah, you're worried if they like you or not, because they could easily be like, oh, you're not gonna date my son or date my daughter or whatever. But I feel like they will approve of you a lot. Just off the get-go, because yeah, you have the Temperance, which is, it talks about mutual energy, mutual feelings, and then the 10 of Cups. Okay, I feel like when they look at the two of you, they'll see that the feelings are very mutual. They'll see that you guys really do love each other a lot, and honestly, they might even like sense or feel that it is like a very divinely guided type of connection. Okay, because there is that religious factor. So like, they could believe in soulmates. They themselves could be, but you know, they don't have to be soulmates, but they themselves could be. In general, they just could have this firm belief that there's someone for everyone, you know. see, with this Hierophant card. And yeah, someone could be a Sagittarius, someone could be a Taurus, but in general, I'm just getting like a lot of divine, like, energy from this pile and from like their, you know, their in-laws. So again, like, yeah, they might be very spiritual people. It could be like, you know, Catholic, Christian, whatever, and they're just like, oh yeah, we really believe in the sanctity of marriage. Like, they've probably, like, you know, they're probably married, you know, still married, been together for 20 years, 30 years, whatever, like however old your future spouse is and longer. And yeah, like I don't know why I can't talk right now. Like, what? I'm trying to figure out what that would possibly mean. For one thing, I'm kind of feeling like out of nervousness, they might be like afraid of like maybe tiptoe around you when they're talking, because like they're trying to figure out like maybe what your sense of humor is and what kind of person you are, and I feel like they don't want to say the wrong thing and like, you know, scare you off. Okay, or maybe you might do that, like say if you have like kind of like a potty mouth, you know, like humor wise, like you curse a lot or something, or like you have like a kind of like a dark sense of humor, like, you know, you and your spouse might both have the same sense of humor or whatever, but you might still feel really nervous to act that way in front of their parents because you don't really know how they are. And yeah, if they're very traditional people and you're not really like that, you know, like they could be like almost like prudish, or, you know, again, just very traditional religious people. So you might be like, okay, I really don't want to say the wrong thing around them. So I feel like you might almost be like halfway through saying a joke or something, and then you're like, oh wait, that's kind of vulgar, I probably shouldn't say that, you know? So it's like, because you might kind of view them already as your own parents, and you're just like, as if like you're the kid and they're the adults, and like you feel like they're gonna scold you and be like, oh, you shouldn't say that, don't talk like that, and you're like, shit, like, you know, just a lot of discomfort at first. But I mean, again, in general, there are some mutual feelings. So, you know, they could easily have the same type of humor that you have and your future spouse has, you know, because say if, you know, you and your future spouse are like, you know, soulmates, duh, and like, you know, you guys really see eye to eye and you have a lot in common, and that also is your mannerisms and your sense of humor. Keep in mind, their parents will probably be the exact same way, but because you guys are meeting each other, they might not know that yet. So like, they might be like, ooh, I know we can take jokes too far sometimes, so we don't want to offend them or anything like that. Also, I mean, if you come from a different religious background or different race, that would ring even more true to home, because they might be like, ooh, you know, like not, I don't think that they're like racist or anything, I don't think that, but I'm saying like, you know, like they might say a joke or whatever that like for their culture, how they are, they might think it's funny, but they don't know if you'll take offense to it. They don't know if you'll be like, oh, we don't joke about that stuff, and, you know, in my culture, like that. Okay. Oop. Burp confirmation. Okay. Y'all always laugh at me about the burp confirmation, but like I said this before. I follow, when I first started watching pick a card readings and I first started getting into tarot reading, I follow this reader, Intuitive Ruchi, like Ruchi. She's a very good reader, and she always has burp confirmations, and that when I was first reading, I was like, you know what, I like how she has that. I wonder if I can manifest some type of confirmation myself, so whenever I'm reading, like, I think I was like, I want a burp confirmation. I want something that will, like, I usually don't do that often, that will confirm if my intuition is correct. And then Spirit was like, I bet, and they literally gave me burp confirmations. So whenever you hear me go burp confirmation, let it go. Let it go. Don't call me out on it. Leave me alone. Anyway. So yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely getting that like energy of like, you know, because the Seven of Swords, it's like that sneaky energy, and I don't really think it's anything bad. I don't really think, you know, I don't think it's here or there. I really think it's just both of you guys, like, you know, or all of you guys, all three of you guys, whatever. But yeah, like, both sides are really gonna be like tiptoeing back and forth of like, what should I say, how should I say, what should I talk about, you know. There might be some moments where it's a little awkward, but I don't think, you know, I don't think it's a matter of they don't like you. I think it's a matter of like they've heard a lot about you. Maybe your future spouse speaks very highly of their parents and very highly of you. Like, they probably have a great relationship with their parents, so you probably like hear so much amazing things about them. You're like, oh my god, they don't have any type of issues. You know, you might have some type of, you know, childhood traumas. You know, I don't really think you've had a terrible childhood or a terrible standing with your parents, but there might be moments where there might be a little bit of resentment or whatever, or like, you know, a lot of family healing had to be done. And I feel like with this person, they probably didn't really have that. Like I feel like they most likely, you know, always had a pretty good relationship with their parents, aside from like the casual, you know, teenager, oh my god, I hate you type of stuff. But like I feel like that was probably at a minimum. And they do hang out with their parents, and they call them a lot, and they talk to them, and they're like, oh, I love you, whatever. And I feel like they just have a very sweet relationship with their parents. So you probably know that, and they're just like, oh my god. And you might even be like, I wish I had that type of relationship, you know, like yeah, my parents are great, but you know, I like hanging out with them, but I don't really actively, if I'm away from them for a long time, I don't actively call them all of the time. The absolute irony, because I'm talking about how you guys might have some type of relationship like that with your parents, and my video was stopped because my mom just called me asking me what food I wanted, you know, because we're still in quarantine, so they're going out and they're just going to like, you know, Longhorn and just getting some food here before, you know, 8 o'clock curfew basically. Anyway, I don't want to restart the whole video, so I'll just put them together. But anyway, so I feel like I was saying, you might have like a weird or at odds type of relationship with your parents. You don't have to. It might be one of those things where like, you know, like you probably do have a pretty decent relationship with your parents, but you know how like that type of thing where, you know, other people look at your parents, oh my god, they're so great, but you might look at them and be like, no, they can be a little uppity, they can be a little rigid sometimes, we kind of butt heads once in a while. But in general, if you look back, you're just like, no, we have a really good standing, like we have a nice relationship. But just something about your person, I feel like they just, it's like at least one step up. Like they just really get along with their parents really well. Like mama's boy, daddy's girl, whatever. Almost like, oh, my parents are practically like my best friends, or, you know, not to that extreme, but again, like, you know, they might be, maybe they moved out and got their own place before you did, so like they actually know what it's like to not be around their parents all the time, to not live in the same house, aside from like, say if they're away at school or something. And they do actively, like they go out of their way to hang out with them and visit them for like, you know, holiday dinners, and they call them like every week, and they're like, hey, how you doing, because like they have like that mutual respect and like an evolved adult relationship with their parents basically. Okay, so yeah that was like a tangent a little bit, but I mean it still relates. So yeah, like I said, they could be talking very highly of their parents to you and very highly of you to them. So you guys are both just like, oh my god, I can't wait to meet them. Like, oh my god, like they really love them so much. And like I feel like both of you guys, like you and their parents, really value your future spouse's like opinions. Like I feel like they have like great taste in people, like great relationships with people. So it's like, oh, if he likes them, if she likes them, then definitely they're great people. I like them. But yeah, so there's just a lot of nervousness. This isn't even like this isn't the 9 of Swords, this isn't the 8 of Swords, but I just feel like some nervousness and being like, what should I say, what should I do? Okay, and I can go back on that and elaborate it later. But now this 9 of Wands energy clarified by the 4 of Wands in the reverse. Now notice yeah, the 4 of Wands is like the twin flame card, but it also just talks about marriage, and it talks about like communication and all that. And when it's in the reverse, it's like a breakdown in communication. And then when I see this card, it's kind of like test of faith, being very tempted, you know, like that type of thing. This might be when you guys are already together, maybe let's see. I don't want to say this, sounds kind of rude, because okay, I'm sure they are fully aware that their child is a very attractive person. You know, most times parents are like, oh my god, my son, my daughter is so handsome, so beautiful, because they look like them. But I don't know, I feel like they might kind of feel like you're a little out of their league. And not like in a, oh, what does she see in him? Because it's like, well, that's our baby. Like we know how handsome he is. We know how beautiful she is. Like we're not saying that, but I feel like that there might be a little bit of a recognition that you might be a little more attractive, or you know, more attractive than past relationships they've been in. Other people that they would bring home, and they're like, wow, this person's so beautiful. Whatever. This person's so handsome, and I almost feel like they kind of worry that you might get tempted by other people that are maybe more, you know, more attractive, or like, you know, or maybe like, if not even like looks, I kind of feel like there might be some things where they're like, oh my god, like their mannerisms, like they're so put together, they're so professional, because you know, like they see the good sides and the bad sides to their own kids, so that they might be like, oh my god, like our son, our daughter, they're so funny, but sometimes they take their jokes a little too far and it can get a little offensive. Or nah, like they're great, but like at dinner, like they don't really have that much table etiquette, this person has a great etiquette or whatever. So I feel like there's some type of level where, like, you know, like you guys do mirror each other if you're twin flames or soulmates, but and like you're meant to be together, but there might be like this kind of thing where they feel like you might have a little bit of leverage on their kid. You might, yeah, be a little bit more professional, or you know, like you're a little more likable, you know, because it probably took them a while to officially be like yeah, I would be friends with my kid, you know. They're probably a total, you know, class clown when they were younger. They were probably a little rude. Maybe they had like a little rebellious phase or something like that. And maybe they brought home like really trashy people, trashy girls, trashy guys, dirtbags, whatever, in the past. But then you're just so different from everyone else they've ever met, and they're just like, wow, this person's great. Like I can't believe that they even like found this person. Like I'm so happy that they found this person. Cause like, yeah, I just feel like this, like, you know, I don't know, like I just kind of feel like there's like some temptation happening. Like they might be afraid that you will eventually leave them for someone else, for something better. I feel like you're probably there to stay, you know, with this like 10 of Cups right here. But at the same time, it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like, oh, this is too good to be true. Like they might, you know, be together for maybe a few years and then break up. We hope not, but like that could easily be what happens, because you know, unless you're like soulmate, you know, a lot of the times marriages last around like 10 years, maybe 20 years, and then people just start to get divorced. So like, you know, even though their parents might be like, they might have been together this entire time, never once split up, they have this dynamic and they're used to each other and they love each other, they might be afraid that you guys, especially if you guys get married young, that you might eventually get tired of each other and leave. So I feel like, yeah, they're just worried that you might eventually walk out on them. Okay, but let's also look at this, because the Four of Wands in the reverse is clarifying it. But again, that could be like breakdown in communication, possible, not really divorce, but like, yeah, just like a transition, you know, like almost like you might level up or something, like I keep saying. Or maybe I'm kind of getting like things might go a little too fast, which is a weird energy. Like, because the Eight of Wands is very fast moving. The Nine of Wands, not really. Okay. I might look in the book for this, but the general, like, denotation for this: courage, persistence, test of faith, resilience. I feel like that's more this card, or that side. And then this side is on edge, defensive, hesitant, and paranoia. Honestly, another thing that I'm getting, if it's not the whole like, oh, we're afraid you might leave them, whatever, that might apply to some people. I think the other thing would simply just be like, you know, again, being a little hesitant to speak, you know, because it's breakdown in communication. So you might have a lot of moments where you're silent and you don't really know what to say. It's really weird how these cards are together like that, because the regular meaning for the Nine of Wands, it makes sense, but I know that this card means something different in the book. Yeah, I'm reading the book because I'm like, what? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? All right. So your life force has been depleted by your hard work and fierce struggles. It must be restored. The seductive barefoot woman represents the primal force, and her cave is the womb of spiritual rebirth. It's time to remove your armor, lay down your defenses, and surrender to the purely animal need to feel alive in body and soul. Okay. They might want you to let your guard down, okay? I feel like, I won't say hypocritical, but I feel like if that energy, if that energy is mutual, of like they're also a little nervous or they don't really know what to say, they don't know what to say, I feel like they still will be a little more cordial, because like, you know, they know their kid, and then they've heard about you, and there's, it's like they outnumber you basically, like it's their entire family, and then you're the new person. So like I feel like I feel like they can talk to you easier than you can talk to them. So you might be really nervous, and you might have your guard up a lot, and you don't really know what to say, because, you know, they just, a lot of stepping on eggshells. So while I did say it might be like that energy with the both of you, I feel like you might feel it more, and that makes sense. You know, like it's very intimidating, just, you know, I'm sure just meeting your person's parents for the first time, and it's like, oh my god, I have my spouse, my boyfriend, girlfriend, and then their parents, and like they all know each other. They're all a family. They go way back. I'm this new person, and they probably see a new person like every, you know, every few years, depending on how many relationships your spouse has been in before you. So yeah, they want you to let your guard down, because it might kind of slow down communicating. And they might be like, okay, we really want to get to know more about this person, which makes sense with the get more information in the reverse, and also the stay optimistic about your love life in the reverse. I feel like, you know, that this is how they view the connection, and these cards were just, do they like you? I feel like they probably are like, yeah, we like them, or yeah, we've heard great things about them, but we don't know that much about them yet, because they're not really opening up. Like we want to, you know, we want to get to know them more. We want to get more information. So like, you know, they might like offer to hang out with you one-on-one or something. Maybe like, you know, if you're a female, maybe the mom will be like, oh, you want to go shopping or something, or, you know, for the dad, they might be like, if you're a guy, they might like want to do guy things. Yeah, they might want to be like, oh yeah, you want to go for lunch or something, you want to get a beer, I don't know. I'm not, well, okay, part of me is like, I don't want to just do those stereotypical gender norms, but at the same time, like I said, I feel like they're very traditional people. So I feel like the mom is very feminine, the dad is very masculine, you know. So yeah, it might be that type of thing where, yeah, if you're a girl, the mom will ask you if you want to go shopping, whatever, and do girly-ish things, and if you're a guy, the father will be like, do you want to get a beer, do you want to watch a game or something, like just bonding activities, whatever it is, just some type of bonding activity that they want to do with you to get to know you more. And like, yeah, I feel like this kind of stands right here with the stay optimistic in the reverse. It's like they want to stay optimistic, they want to be optimistic about this connection, but at the same time, again, they don't really know that much about you, and they might feel that you will eventually venture off to someone new. Verb confirmation, and they might be worried about that. Okay, so Six of Pentacles. I'm kind of getting like, yeah, they might have like a really big house, you know, like this estate, or like their own business or something. I'm kind of getting this from like the masculine energy. Again, very traditional, like stereotypical type of stuff. It might be like, I'm sure like the mom probably still works too, but it's like the dad just like, he might own his own business or whatever, and just have like, you know, this empire type of thing. And if you're dealing with the divine masculine, like if your future spouse is a guy, I kind of feel like this is them, and like they basically are under their wing. It's like he's the king, and your spouse is the prince, basically, you know. Even though it's not even the same element, it's like this is pentacles and this is fire, but I just feel like, yeah, the masculine energy, like the dad, or it could just be them in general, just like their family, their parents, yeah, pretty powerful people, pretty wealthy. I feel like they probably own a lot of property, yeah, own a business, like a full-on family business that really like excelled, bigger than just like a small mom and pop shop. Like they probably own like a whole corporation or something like that. Obviously you'll know, or like they're the boss, they're the, you know, like people answer to them at work, you know, just really powerful people, very well respected people, you know, big name, you know, not necessarily like celebrities, but like people know them, you know, they're very well respected, they rub elbows with, you know, the rich and famous, or, you know, just really powerful people. That might be a little bit intimidating. But the Knight of Wands. What am I missing here? The Knight of Wands. Like I said, I'm just getting like a self-made, like entrepreneurial type of thing where they have their own business. Because I'm kind of just seeing like maybe, you know, this was like the father figure when they were younger, and they just like a very bootstraps type of person maybe, and they're like, I'm gonna start my own business, and they kind of started from nothing and basically built this whole empire for themselves and for their family. Okay. Like, basically, I don't think they've ever really had a struggle with money. They probably go on vacation all the time to really nice places. And they don't have to be filthy, stinking rich. I'm not saying the top 1%, but they're kind of like, you know, the upper class or, like, upper middle class, whatever. Like, you know, they might, like, dress normally, you know, and have, like, kind of, like, a modest thing about them. But I feel like, it's like, I feel like, say, when you're with your future spouse and you've never been to their house before, and maybe you meet their parents like somewhere else first, and you're like, oh wow, like, you know, like their mom dresses like kind of preppy, but like, you know, she's still has this humble air about her, whatever, but at the same time kind of regal. And then like the father, like he might just be like, I'm just gonna wear like a t-shirt and khakis or whatever, like jeans or something like that, and it just looks like your everyday man, your everyday working man, you know, not like this posh people. But then the second you go to your spouse's house, your future spouse's house, like, or their parents' house, it's like almost like a mansion, you know, really big. Or maybe, you know, maybe their childhood home was a mansion. Like, I'm talking like $500,000 to $1 million to whatever, like really expensive house, beautiful area. They went to a nice school and everything like that. And I feel like you probably did too, but I just feel like maybe you didn't see it coming. Like, you know, when you first meet your future spouse, like they might kind of, this is a thing. You know how like when you meet some like really rich ass people, but like, you know, it's like suburban or in a rural area, RURAL, like I'm from a very rural, oh my god, I can't say that word, but you know what I mean, a rural area, whatever. And like the amount of rich kids that I know, and they're like, oh yeah, my dad's a lawyer, and we live like on a golf course, and we have this giant house and all that, but like they dress like they're playing lacrosse every fucking day. Like they wear sweatshirts and like lacrosse shorts, or, you know, basketball shorts, and they have like their hair like a mop head or something like that. Or my person, like I know that they have like a really nice big house, you know, from childhood all the way up to college, like, you know, and I guess their parents just moved once he and, you know, his siblings, you know, went off to college or something like that. But like the way he dresses, you wouldn't think he was rich, you know. So I feel like that might be the same type of thing with your person. Like they don't really dress like they're rich, so you're gonna be taken by surprise when you first go to their house, and you're gonna be like, holy shit. And I feel like that's probably the deviation here, because like, yeah, like I said, this Knight of Wands, it could be them. And it doesn't have to be masculine. You know, I feel like it could be like a tomboy-esque feminine or something. But like, I feel like when you're meeting your future spouse for the first time, when you're around them, like, you know, I feel like, you know, you're like, oh yeah, they have a lot of money, but they worked hard for that money. They did it themselves, you know, like the whatever. But I feel like they're not telling you they actually have like an inheritance. Not to say that they don't work hard. I feel like they still work hard. They're very hardworking people, but they don't dress like it. Like they don't. Like they probably wear like oversized jackets, or they probably have like a favorite pair of shoes that they wear all the time, to the point where it's almost raggedy looking, you know. And like they wear your basic like jeans or slacks or whatever, like a t-shirt, graphic tees, oversized jackets, whatever. They might like to let their hair get a little messy, like that aesthetic, that like skater boy stoner aesthetic type of thing. I feel like they have that, where like they're actually rich as fuck, but they don't want to be looked at like that. They don't want to be seen like rich. It's almost like their street cred or whatever. Like, you know, they don't want to seem like they're poor, but they don't dress like a preppy rich kid either. So yeah, I feel like you're definitely gonna be taken by surprise when, like, you know, you're with your future spouse and you're around them all the time, and then suddenly you meet their parents and you go to their parents' house, and it's just like, this is a fucking mansion. What the hell? And you might act, because you might have also come from a really nice area, like, and live in a nice house too, to the point where you actually pretty much, you were raised exactly the same as your future spouse, and you have the same life as them, but you actually look the part more than they do. Like, you probably dress a little nicer, you have like a nicer car maybe, and like you always are put together, and like you always look good. Even if you're just walking around like in like leggings or sweatpants or whatever, you always look put together. You don't look like a slob ever. Your person might at times look like a slob. So that's what I was saying earlier, how I was just like, they might feel maybe that you're more their cup of tea, that you're not like some trashy people or whatever, trashy girls or dirt bags that they used to bring back, and you know, where they're trying to basically have their own like deviated image from their parents and their actual lifestyle and stuff. Like, you actually are more their people, you know, like you dress nicely, you dress like how their parents dress, or you know, if you're a female, you dress like how their mom dresses, you know, like you're very put together. You have a very eloquent way of speaking. You have, like I said, better etiquette, better table manners and mannerisms and all that. And you're not trying to be like, oh my God, I'm not rich. I'm not that rich. And like, my parents are rich. I'm not rich. Or we're not rich. We're comfortable. You know, you're not that type of person. You don't flaunt your wealth, but you can tell that you do have a good amount of money, a good amount of family wealth, or you know, like again, you carry yourself in a type of way that you can look at someone can look at you and be like, they probably have a good amount of money. Their family has a good amount of money. You know, a nice updated phone with like no cracks or like no broken phone. A nice up-to-date like computer. Your hair is always nice. Again, you always dress nice. I feel like you probably have like, you know, like your parents, your grandparents taught you like, oh, never leave the house with your shirt wrinkled. Always iron your shirt. Like, you know, because that makes you look, it makes you look poor. It makes you look like, it makes you look poor. It makes it look like you have no money, or it makes you look, you know, whatever, if you don't iron your shirt. Like, just that type of etiquette where it's like, basically, if you dare to walk out of your house looking raggedy as hell, your parents, your grandparents would get on you for that, okay? That like you know, like even like the father figures on your side are probably like almost like metrosexual, like just always put together. So you've learned that growing up, to always stay put together, to always look nice, to always dress nice, like almost like a little mini business person, very posh, whatever. Like, but your person probably doesn't do that. Your person, like, and they're probably just like, oh, why do you dress like that, whatever, but probably not to a point where they're gonna yell at them for it, but like, you know, because they're like, we don't have anything to prove, but like, I wish you would dress a little bit nicer, you know. But yeah, your person, they probably let their hair get a little too long, and you know, because it's their aesthetic, or they wear the same shoes until it gets raggedy, they leave the house and they don't iron their shirts, that, you know, it's always like a little wrinkled, because like they just want that aesthetic of like, oh, I'm not that rich, just for their own street cred, as like a form of like, as a form of respect, you know. And because you're not like that, you actually do take care of yourselves. Yeah, their parents are gonna like that about you, and they're gonna be like, damn, like, finally, you know, they brought home a respectable person. They brought home like a neat, put together person. So I feel like they'll like that about you. Because, yeah, abundance, like, they might, when they see you, you know, especially if you dress nicely, say if, you know, again, the etiquette, like, I feel like you're gonna be like, oh, like, oh, my parents always taught me never go to someone's house empty-handed. You know, I'm gonna bring, like, maybe, like, right before you meet their parents, you ask your future spouse, what is their favorite kind of wine? What kind of flowers do they like? What do they like? So you show up and you bring a bouquet of flowers, you bring a box of chocolates, you bring a bottle of really fine wine, and they're like, wow, that was so thoughtful, you know? So, like, you might show up bringing something, and that already will show how abundant you are, and how, like, respectable and etiquette and almost, like, regal you are, okay? I just get the sense of regal when they meet you. Like, you're really, because you could be a pretty casual person on a regular day-to-day basis, but like, you know how to dress. Like, say on a regular casual weekend or something when you're home, yeah, you're gonna lounge around in sweatpants, leggings, t-shirt, whatever. But when you're when you're at school, when you're at work, when you're going out in public to hang out with your friends, you always dress nice. You're not gonna be caught dead looking like a bum because you were taught not to do that, okay? And I feel like they're gonna see that and they're gonna be like, I respect that. Now it's up to you in the reverse. Honestly, okay, because this is, again, though, do they like you? It's up to you in the reverse. I feel like they're gonna like you a lot, but I feel like even if they didn't like you, they're like, oh, please, our kid, our son, our daughter, they love them. It doesn't, in the end, it doesn't matter what we think. You know, we respect you, we like you a lot. It doesn't matter what we think. We know our kid, we know our son, we know our daughter. They're gonna be like, too bad, I'm in love with them. I don't care what you think at the end of the day. I'm not trying to get your approval. I'm just introducing you because you asked me to meet them. You know, like that type of thing. So in the end, no matter what they think about you, which again, pretty positive, it don't matter. It don't matter. They know. There might be like this almost stubborn quality in your future spouse where they're like, oh yeah, no, never. Like they love their friends, they love like the relationships that they're in, and they're like, you can't tell them shit, you know. So yeah, I'm getting that feeling. Okay. Yeah, that was a nice reading though. That was really nice reading. So yeah, literally, if anything, they do like you a lot. I feel like it's just, you know, the first meeting jitters will just make you a little bit nervous, and they just are gonna be like, don't be afraid to talk. That's okay. Open up. Or you want something to drink, and you're like, no, thank you. Like, no, seriously. Like, you know, I'm offering you food. I'm offering you a drink. Just take it. You know, don't reject it. This is how I do things. But yeah, nice reading. Pile number 1. Hope you enjoyed that. Let's move on to pile number 2. Okay, pile number 2, meeting your future spouse's parents. Well, for one thing, I feel like you'll probably meet them at nighttime, like dinner or something. But yeah, so we have the Page of Cups, the King of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, the World card, the Hermit in the reverse, Death in the reverse, Eight of Swords, and the Emperor. Do they like you? Meditation brings answers. Yes in the reverse. Helpful people. And getting to know each other for like how they see the relationship. Okay, now I saw one reader on live. Her Instagram is by Felicia. Yeah. She was doing like a live reading and shuffling cards and all that, and then like the World card fell, and she was like, oh, when the World card falls, that's never a good sign, whatever. But the way how it fell, she was just like holding the cards and just like shuffling it like that, and then it just completely fell over. So it might be a little bit different to where like when I shuffle my cards, I always get flyers, but because this fell on the floor, I was a little bit nervous about it. So I mean, we'll check it. I'm not gonna outright say, oh, this is bad, but I just think that's something to pay attention to. How I just want to point out this kind of fell out in a weird way, so it might be a little bit of a rocky start, okay? But like, yeah, let's look at this. I generally feel like your future spouse's parents, legal guardians, whatever, their parents are like, they're so standoffish. Like God, I feel like it takes a lot for them to get used to new people. I don't think this really has anything to do with you. I think it's literally just like, you know, they might be a little rigid, you know, and yeah, very, very quiet around people, because we have this, like, this page, like they're not really expressing themselves, not really saying anything. The King of Cups, it's like, you know, that they hold in their emotions a lot. The Nine of Pentacles is like this person is going solo. Like I really just feel like they're the type of people, like they're kind of loners. I feel like they're loners, okay? And it might be a single parent too. It might be. Or even like Yeah, their parents might be divorced or maybe just, yeah, single parents. So you might like meet both their parents separately, or like, oh my god, if they're like, oh, I want you to meet my parents, and then they're just like telling their parents, okay, just to make things easier, can we just all meet at once? And maybe their parents don't like each other, they don't get along, so they're gonna be like, oh, I do not feel like sitting with your father. I don't feel like sitting with your mother, you know. So, I mean, that might be the case. If their parents are divorced, that might be the case. Otherwise, yeah, it could be single parents, you know, just by themselves, and you're gonna have to meet the parents twice, or you know, or they're still together, but they only keep to themselves. They don't really talk to anybody. Like, they don't trust anyone. They don't talk to anyone. Like, you know, like, oof. This might be a hard egg to crack, honestly, for them, you know. I don't think that they're not gonna like you. I just think that it's just gonna take a lot to really get to know them and talk to them. Okay? Because, whenever I do, like, my general twin flame soulmate readings, this page of cups, the way how it is on this side, it's like, you know, they have a lot of feelings, they have a lot of things to say, but they don't say anything. They're too shy to like pick up the cup and actually give the offering, whatever. So I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen with their parents, or that's just the mutual energy, because like if they're not talking that much, if they're being so standoffish, then it's gonna make you retreat into your shell and not know what to say or what to talk about. I just feel like it's gonna be a very shelled off type of thing. They might have a weird relationship with their parents. Like, I almost feel like you probably insisted on meeting their parents, but they probably were like, you don't have to meet them, that's okay. Like, you know, I don't hate them, but I have a weird relationship with my parents. So I feel like your person has kind of a weird relationship with their parents, and they don't really want you to meet them, but they don't want you to think that it's because of you. You know, so they're gonna be like, okay, I mean, if you want to meet them, but I'm just letting you know, like, they're very quiet people. They're very, like, they're not that talkative. They like to stay in the house at all times, so we're gonna have to be at the house to meet them. They don't like to go out anywhere. They don't like spending money. They don't like, you know. Like, they might be very opposite of your future spouse. Like, your future spouse might be like very charismatic, very talkative and fun and everything, but I feel like their parents, like, they're just oof, like oh my god. like gosh, you know the movie Up. The movie Up, and like it shows like that whole beginning sequence when I forget his name, but the old man, he met his wife, and like it shows them all throughout their childhood when they're getting married and everything. And like, you know, the second like they get married, she, like, they're cheering, she turns to her side of the family, and they're like a bunch of, like, you know, like very country folk, and they're very energetic and excited, like, yeah, yeah. And then he turns to his side of the family, and they all look like fucking Mormons or whatever, or like Jehovah's Witnesses or something, and they're wearing all black, and they're very quiet, and they're just like, I feel like that's how their parents are. Like, you might have a more upbeat, energetic family, you know, like, oof, maybe even like different ethnicities. Like, maybe you have a more vibrant cultural background, and their culture, their ethnicity is like not that much culture, not that exciting, kind of bland, kind of boring, whatever. Maybe very religious, very rigid, whatever. So it's like, it's gonna be like a weird clash of your family and their family. Not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but I just feel like it might be a little bit surprising. I feel like for this, just think back to when you first met your person. Like, when you first met them, did it take a while to really get them to open up? Were they rigid when they first met you? Were they shy? Do they retreat into their shell? Do they like being alone? Because, you know, and it then as you guys, you know, as your relationship develops more and more, they start opening up to you. But keep in mind, however they acted when you first met them is most likely how their parents are, because that's how they were brought up. So, yeah, their parents, very, very closed off, very rigid, very, like, you know, maybe they wear a lot of dark clothes, they don't really express themselves all that much, and it's just like, it's gonna take a lot to get them to talk to you. A lot. I wouldn't say rude, they don't talk to anybody. They are so antisocial, like, kind of emo in all honesty. like, yeah, and I feel like you're gonna feel kind of restricted talking to them, because, like, yeah, it's like you might want to try to crack a joke to break the ice and they don't laugh. Like, you're just like, oh my god, yeah, or oh my god, the traffic was crazy getting down here, and they're just like, yes, yes it is, it's very you know, like very soft spoken, like, yes, 287 is yes, it's always very, very crowded. I always try to avoid driving during that time. And you're just like, okay, you know, but the way, the whatever you say, the way how you're trying to deliver it, you're trying to almost get like a little bit of a chuckle out of them, but like they just have a very serious response to everything you say. That's just how they are. Like they it's like they have no sense of humor. Like I mean, I'm sure you'll find a way to get them to like you, or you know, you'll find a way to figure them out. You know, because if they're anything like your future spouse, you know, you manage to get them to like you a lot, and get them to, you know, to open up to you. So I feel like it will take a minute. It will take a minute to get them to do this or that. But let's see, because that's like restriction, challenging the status quo. So yeah, I just feel like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to try to get them to open up and get to know them, and because they're being so restricted and kept to themselves, it's going to make you stay to yourself, because you're going to feel like, I don't really have anything in common with these people, and if I did, I have no idea what it would be, because they're not saying anything. So like it's kind of daunting and intimidating trying to talk to them. And the death card in the reverse, resistance to change, unable to move on. So resistance to change, unable to move on. Yeah, again, I feel like just rigidity. Like this might be the father, maybe the father energy, father figure, masculine energy in their life. Maybe maybe they don't really like the idea of seeing their son, their daughter, like, you know, moving up to such a high commitment and like leaving the house. You know, they probably have always been like a very protective person of their kid, of your spouse, and they're just like, I don't want to see my baby growing up. Or, you know, if it's like the father-daughter dynamic, like, oh, you're still a little girl to me, and I can't imagine that you're just like, you know, you're with this person and you're sleeping with them, and you know, you're marrying them, and you're gonna leave the house soon, and this is crazy, blah blah. You know, or like, yeah, mother and son dynamic, same thing basically, where it's like, oh, no one will ever be good enough for my boy, like that type of thing. So, I feel like it's gonna be like that type of thing. I'm sorry. I feel like they'll turn around eventually, but it's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass trying to get them to like open up to you at first. But yeah, like that could be the masculine energy, just like very closed off. Or if anything, I feel like they're like a boulder, and it's just hard to move, you know? They're a mountain that's hard to push, a rock that's hard to move. Like, again, just simple, trying to talk to them, trying to get them to budge, whatever. Like, they, you know, they have like a serious poker face. They could think something's funny, might give like a little grunt and just move on, like, huh, and then just keep talking, like, as if nothing, as if they weren't just laughing. Like, it will really take them a minute. Like, honestly, they might need a couple drinks before they actually open up, you know? But I feel like even that, they might be like able to hold their liquor, where it's just like, you know, like they could have like a couple beers and they're still like very serious. Like they're not really like the tipsy type, but you know, but they might be a little more like cordial and easy to talk to once they had a few beers, or like, you know, say if they're watching a game or whatever, like that type of thing, or you know, when they're doing something that they like to do, then you'll get to know them more. But I feel like they're not really good at the whole, like, you know, formal dinner, or like, oh hi, meet my future wife or my future husband, little burp, confirmation. But yeah, like, oh yeah, meet my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, I want you to meet them, and they're just like, oh, do I have to, like, okay, hi, like, it's just there'll be a lot of awkward tension happening, and you're just like, okay, how do I talk to these people, how do I get them to talk to me, this is so annoying, I hate this so much. Like, it's gonna be a wee bit of a pain in the ass. Okay? Okay. I kind of turned because like I'm, you know, Friends is on in the background, and just now Phoebe said single mother as I'm about to look at this card. So yeah, single mother, meeting the single mom, if that's what the dynamic is. She might be a little more welcoming, a little more loving. If they are divorced, that might be why they're divorced, because maybe like, yeah, the dad is just too rigid and quiet and all that, and she might be a little more vibrant and happy and just sweet. So she might be like, oh, hi, how are you? Do you want anything to eat? Do you want anything to drink? How are you doing? How was your drive? Whatever, you know, you might give them flowers. Oh, thank you so much. I love these flowers. Like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I just get this very bubbly energy from them. But we do have the Eight of Swords, though. That's clarifying it, which is weird. Okay, so, huh? That's a weird combo. This is such a freeing card, like, you know, single, self-sufficient, and then you have the Eight of Swords, which is like victim mentality and stuck. Like, she might, like, the mom might have, like, more of a youthful energy or something, and maybe at times they get a little easily defensive, offended by whatever. Like, That's so weird. Like, I don't even know what that could even mean. Like, what? That's such a weird combo. Am I missing something? Isolation, self-imposed restriction, imprisonment. Let's see. I mean, I feel like in this context, that probably was just clarifying it just so that I'm not questioning if they're a single parent. Okay? So, like, I don't know, maybe, most likely, I mean, not always, but maybe the mother figure is the one that, like, you know, got full custody of your future spouse, and they took care of your future spouse for all this time, whatever. And I feel like maybe after their parents, you know, got divorced, they probably stayed single the entire time. Like, they've never really gotten into a relationship. And I feel like they're fine being single, but maybe, like, you know, at times there is almost like an isolated feeling, you know. It might be hard to date when, you know, they have like a kid or an adult kid, like a adult kid, son, daughter, that's like in their 20s, 30s, whatever, and they like, you know, took care of them for so long or whatever, like that. I might want to get a clarifier card for that, because I'm like, it's really weird how that came up. So let's just clarify that real quick. We get an extra card. Thank you, Spirit. Clarify this Nine of Pentacles and Eight of Swords. Like, what does this mean? What you talking about, Spirit? Clarify this Nine of Pentacles and Eight of Swords with pile 2, meeting their person's parents. Clarify with the most confusing card in the deck. Like, what? Okay. I feel like this person, like, honestly, I'm not even sure anymore if this is the mom. I have no freaking idea. I feel like, let's say if it is, like, you know, single mom, whatever, I feel like they might have a lot of anxiety, and I feel like, you know what, they're confusing as fuck. They're confusing. They're very confusing fucking people. They could be an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Honestly, I'm getting Pisces energy. You know how Pisces always be trying to fucking play victim over every damn thing, and they're just like, oh my god, how dare you? Like, any signs that fucking play victim, I feel like they might have Pisces, a Pisces moon or something. Or maybe they're like a Gemini. Okay? Like, I feel like they'll seem very well-to-do, very independent, whatever, but they have their moments. Like, say if you're talking to them one-on-one, sometimes you're like, am I even talking to the same person? Like, I feel like the mother figure is weird. not in a bad way, but they're weird. Like they are so hard to read right now. Like I feel like that's gonna be how it's gonna be in general. Like one minute, you know, they seem very confident and sweet, whatever, and then the next minute you say the wrong thing and they get so offended, or they're just like, oh God, why would you say that? Like that's terrible, whatever. And you're just like, wait, what? I didn't think you'd care. Like, why are you so, like, whatever? And you might be over here like, do they even like me? Like, do they like me? Are they being fake? Like, what's going on? You know, I feel like I just feel so much confusion here. It's gonna be like the way how they present themselves. Like, yeah, one minute they're really sweet, the next minute they're kind of, you know, maybe bitchy or yeah, just confusing. And you're just gonna be trying to figure out, like, do they like me or not? I'm so confused. You know. Like Jesus. And their mother figure might give you anxiety, or they might themselves have anxiety, like almost like in a childish type of manner. But I just feel like, yeah, I feel like they're not good at meeting their kids' significant others. I feel like whenever they meet them, they don't really know what kind of persona to play. It's like they focus way too much on what the other person thinks about them, which is weird because, like, you know, you'd think that if anything this would be like your energy or something, but I don't really think that's your energy. I feel like it's the mom's energy. So bizarre. Like, oh God. It's that type of thing where, like, yeah, at a glance you're like, oh yeah, they're really nice, but like your spouse might be like, oof, they're okay, or like they're not that great, or like they're kind of bitchy, they're kind of a like oh, you haven't seen them behind closed doors, not like in an abusive way, but like nope, they get really pissy and fussy, and they're like, oh, I'm the only one that cleans in this house, or oh, I do this, oh, I do that, you don't do anything. Like, ugh, just that's annoying. But just that type of, oh God, I hate that. Yeah, what the hell. Um, yeah. And like I feel like they might have moments where, yeah, they just kind of play the victim, like just like a total Pisces energy. I feel like your future spouse's mom is like, you know, a generally nice person. Even if they're in a relationship right now, like say like, you know, they married someone else, or they're going to marry someone else, they still give off very, like, you know, independent woman vibes. Like they're very strong and they can basically do everything on their own. But at the same time, they do everything on their own. So then they're just like, no one wants to help me with anything. No one does anything for me, whatever. And like, it's weird that like, I don't know how you're gonna see this when you first meet them. It seems like a bit much when you're first meeting them. That's gonna be like that. But I don't know. Maybe you'll just kind of have a conversation. You'll see it, or maybe this will happen shortly after meeting them initially, and then you're like, oh, they say this, they do that, they do this, they do that, or I don't know. Um, like, yeah, it's weird. They might not like a submissive energy for towards their own child. I don't know. I feel like almost like they're like a floor mat almost. Like they might get kind of walked all over a lot by other people in the family, whatever, and like they're too nice to the wrong people, and I feel like they've probably been taken advantage of. Okay, this honestly might just be how they are in general. Like might not even really be how they are around you when they first meet you. But I just feel like this person, it's probably justifiably, like not really all playing victim, but I just feel like, maybe at a glance you're just like, oh God, like they always complain about stuff, that whatever, like they always like never satisfied. But maybe when you get to know them, you're just like, oh no, they actually went through a lot in their life, or oh they have really bad anxiety, they have like really weird social cues and social interactions with people, and it kind of shows later on. Or maybe like, yeah, no one really appreciates them, like they do a lot of work around the house, that they do all the main stuff, but no one really ever appreciates them, you know. um Maybe at times, they butted heads with your future spouse, where their future spouse is just like, oh my God, mom, you're so annoying, or whatever. Like, hopefully they grew out of that. Because obviously people argue with their parents all the time. Like, it don't matter who you're looking at. Now everyone has argued with their parent at one point or another. But I mean, like, your future spouse maybe at one point or another talk to them a little too casually. I feel like maybe this is a young parent, like maybe, maybe their parents had them at a kind of a young age, so there's almost like a blurred line between like treating them as a parent and treating them as like an older sibling or a peer. So it might be that type of thing where it's like maybe she didn't really get to enjoy her youth all that much because she had to raise a kid. And it's like if their parents are still together, I feel like you can kind of tell that they definitely should get a divorce. Like basically, I feel like their parents are not soulmates. I feel like they're not meant to be together. Not that that would really affect your relationship with your person, but I feel like it might just be weird because you might be like, wow, with my person, I feel like, I feel like they're my soulmate. I feel like we're meant to be together. It's so crazy seeing how their parents have such a weird relationship, so say if they're still together, they're obviously doing their own thing, husband might be very controlling, and then the wife might be like better off just on her own, more self-sufficient and everything, but then she might be like, oh, I'm stuck here because we've just been married for so long that I didn't want to get out of it. Like, I kind of feel like their parents are karmics, if anything. Yeah, like kind of like a toxic relationship that they have with each other, and I feel like that really messes up with the mom's self-esteem and her anxiety, and there's just like a lot of confusion, and I feel like you're gonna notice that, when you're around them. Like, again, if they do have, if you do meet them all together, and like, again, if they're still married, but you're just like, why are they married? I'm so confused. Or like, yeah, like he's very to himself, she's very sweet and loving, and she probably, she has moments where she's being sweet to him and he kind of just dismisses her or something, or brushes her off, or doesn't really listen to what she's saying, or just kind of grunts instead of actually like engages in conversation. Or you're just like this it almost feels forced how they are, like they don't really seem like they like each other all that much, or God forbid, like I was there and they started complaining, like maybe, oof, like maybe when you meet their parents, like they kind of get into a little bit of an argument or something, and I feel like it just kind of ruins the night, and you're just like, okay, we're gonna leave, we'll come back another time, it was nice meeting you, and then you drive home and you're just like, oh god, that was terrible, and they're just like, I'm so sorry that happened. They get like that all the time, they always argue, I don't know why they're still married, like it's really weird. Okay, like a sense of immaturity, and like, again, like even if they're together, they're isolated from each other. Like they're basically just two people living in the same house, but they shouldn't still be married. It's a very toxic connection, not like abusive, just they just don't see eye to eye, they don't get along, and they probably just stay together just because they had kids and they're like, whatever. So yeah, how they view the connection when getting to know each other, I feel like you and your future spouse might be all set, but say if you guys are kind of young, whatever, they're probably just like, I hope you guys really get to know each other as much as possible. I hope you guys date a lot longer before you guys get married, because trust me, I thought I was in love with your father, I thought I was in love with your mother, but then as years went by, I started getting tired of them, like, say if you guys try to get married young, they're gonna be like, honestly, I think that's a mistake. I don't think you should do that, because I don't make the same mistake I made. I got with your father, I got with your mother, and I regret it. I'm not happy in this relationship with them. That's sad. It's like their parents never. Yeah, your future spouse's parents, they never really got to meet their own soulmate connections. I feel like they just, maybe they will later, maybe like seeing your connection, they might be like, you know what, I want that. In all honesty, like I've seen this happen on like TV shows. Don't be surprised if like their parents see your connection and it's like a beautiful connection, and they're just like, that's the kind of relationship that I want. We can learn a thing or two from our kid. I don't think we should be together. And the next thing you know, your spouse is like, holy shit, my parents are getting divorced, and you're just like, really? And they're like, yeah, like they Like yeah, they'll probably see you two together and see how you guys love each other, and they're just like, I never felt that way about this person. Like, you guys are getting together not because you're pregnant, not because you have to be together because of that. Like, no, you guys are like two free young adults, and you love each other, and you want to be around each other, and you want to get married because you want to get married, you know? So yeah, they probably had to get married because they had kids, and they were probably really young. And I feel like they're miserable together, and I feel like you're going to pick up on that. Like, you're going to notice that, and you're going to be like, oh god, I feel like they hate each other, this is awful. That's sad. But that kind of makes sense with how the world card just kind of fell. So yeah, it might be like the situation comes a little bit to an end because the vibe that they have will just be so uncomfortable. Like, maybe your spouse would be like, okay, this is really embarrassing, let's go. Like, I feel like if this is them, like, if your spouse is like divine masculine energy, or they might just take authority in that moment and be like, okay, I'm gonna cut this dinner short, I'm gonna cut this, you know, meeting short, this is ridiculous, you guys are being really immature. Like, it's like, I feel like your spouse is a lot more mature than their parents are, because again, like, when they argue with each other, they act like kids. I feel like your future spouse a lot of the times had to kind of be the adult, which is a weird feeling, you know? Like, they had to be the adult sometimes because, like, you know, their parents might be like, oh, I can't believe you're taking their side again. Oh, I can't believe, like, obviously, like, I'm in wrong. Or, oh my god, you're your father. Oh my god, your mother. And they're just like, I'm so fucking tired of this. I'm sorry. This is why I didn't want you to meet them. If I had a normal, like, family, I would love for you to meet my parents, but I have a really dysfunctional family. Like, my parents are weird. They fight all the time. They hate each other. Like, this is not what I wanted you to see, you know? So, like, yeah, that might be why they don't really want you to meet them, you know? Not because they don't see anything with you, it's just because it's just so different from your connection, I feel like, that they're just gonna be like, yeah, like, I have such a weird dynamic with my family, and I don't want you to be exposed to that, it's really weird, you know? So yeah, this dinner might kind of come to an end. Or maybe, like, you'll meet them once, and then after that, it'll just be like, okay, bye, and you never talk to them again. You know, I feel like it varies on everyone, but there's just a little bit of a dysfunctional family coming from their parents. Not even fully from them, but, like, if anything, it probably taught them what they really want in love, and maybe made them a little more hesitant when it comes to love, because they're like, I want to make sure I'm giving my love to the right person. I don't want to marry someone just because they have to. Or maybe it was almost like an arranged type of marriage or whatever, and they're like, I don't want that. I want someone that I really love, because I don't want to make the same mistake my parents made when they were together, and they don't really love each other, and they're always fighting and arguing, things are awkward. I hate that, you know? So yeah, you might get a lot of insight into your connection with your person once you meet their parents, you know? So, yeah, do they like you? Do they like you? So, like, do they like you? Yeah, you have the yes in the reverse. Meditation brings answers, and helpful people. I don't know, it's really weird that we have the yes card in the reverse. But I mean, given how all this happens, I don't know, it's almost like they're not even really going to get a chance to gauge whether or not they like you, because they're just going to be, like, almost fighting with each other, like I said. You know, that's just what I'm feeling. Like, you might be fine, but for them, like, they're around each other, they just want to argue, so they're not really taking the time to really evaluate you. They might be like, they're fine, whatever, I just want to get out of here, you know? Like, I feel like they're just not really willing to cooperate with this. It's going to be really annoying. Okay, helpful people. This is just kind of, I feel like, reiterating what I was saying, like, maybe seeing your connection with your person, they might be like, that's kind of something I want, you know? So I feel like in a way you'll kind of be helping them to see what relationship they really should be going for, and that they're like, I'm not happy in this relationship, I don't want to be in it anymore. And the meditation brings answers. That one's a weird one. Oh god. Sorry, the TV. But yeah, meditation brings answers. I feel like they might be the type of people where, like, in the moment things are really rocky, but like maybe when they are just kind of alone, like, again, I feel like they're people that love being alone and they're with their thoughts, they might think about like what you two were actually doing at this dinner, at this meeting, and be like, you know what, even though, you know, I was, you know, your father and I were fighting, or your mother and I were fighting, or whatever, even though we were kind of arguing and I didn't want to be around them that night, or it was just like a really tense thing, the two of you, though, like, you know, looking back and just thinking about how you guys are around each other, you guys are very sweet around each other. So yeah, I feel like they're more gonna reevaluate the meeting, the situation, and they're gonna be like, no, they actually, they are very loving, that they have a nice connection going on. I like them together, you know. Sorry that they had to see us fighting, but I like them together, you know. So yeah, it might be like a pretty new connection, like you guys might have just got together, right, like, you know, maybe together for like a couple months, and then they introduce you, or maybe like, maybe they never met you, because again, I feel like they were probably holding off and they didn't want you to meet them, so maybe like you don't even meet their parents until you're already engaged, and they're just like, ooh, I don't know about that, I think you should, and you guys have probably been together for a long time, but I feel like their parents didn't know that, they probably knew nothing about you at all, and then suddenly it's like, oh shit, our son, our daughter is engaged, like, what the hell, like, why didn't you tell us, you know? Like, it's like this relationship was kind of kept a secret because they just didn't want to deal with anything, like, they didn't want to, they just did not want you to meet their parents, because it's a weird connection that's going on. Like, damn. Honestly, I don't know. That's probably not what you want to hear, but I mean, look at it this way. They don't hate you. They just don't like each other. So I feel like, yeah, definitely it will be kind of awkward. That's what I'm feeling when you meet, like, pile number 2, when you meet your future spouse's parents. It's gonna be a really awkward type of connection. You're gonna feel that they really aren't meant to be together, especially if your connection with your person is so strong. You're gonna be like, oh my god, like, you know, my soulmate, my twin flame's parents are, like, obviously karmics, they shouldn't be together, this is so awkward, this is so weird to watch, you know. But yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with you. I don't think they're gonna hate you. I just think that you'll understand. Again, it'll give you a lot of insight, and you'll be like, ooh, burp confirmation. Yeah, you'll get a lot of insight, and you'll be like, okay, now I understand why he or she never wanted me to meet their parents. Now I understand why when we first met they were very closed off to love. Now I understand. Like, you'll get a lot of insight. I feel like it's gonna work out for the better. And then maybe eventually, you know, if you hang out with them one-on-one, like, you know, they might want to get to know you individually, the mom, the dad, whatever, but all of them together, it was weird. So they might be like, maybe one of them will reach out to you and be like, I'm so sorry with the way how things, like, they might actually take initiative and be like, I'm so sorry you had to see that. You know, we don't like being around each other. We really don't interact with each other at all. We have a lot of tension happening. There's so much history there, you know, but we want to try that again. If you would, you know, we would love to, or I would love to hang out with you again, get to know you more without him or her there, you know, just one-on-one, you know, or you, me, and, you know, my son, daughter, your spouse, like the 3 of us, and we can just try that again, and you can just get to know me without, you know, the tension of my wife, my husband being there, you know, or ex-wife, ex-husband, or whatever. Because you will sense that awkwardness, and I feel like maybe the second time around meeting them and getting to know them or having dinner with them, you'll be like, okay, individually they're really cool, they just don't like each other, you know? But yeah, so it's not entirely bad, it's just you might want to meet them a second time separately before really gauging how this is going to be. And no matter what, I don't think it really matters what they think. I think, you know, it's just going to be an awkward meeting, but it's not going to have anything to do with your connection. Alright? Now, oh my god. Pile number 3. I don't know why that's so loud. So meeting your future spouse's parents. Okay, the King of Wands, the Two of Swords, the Star, which is Aquarius energy, the Hermit, which is Virgo energy, King of Wands in the reverse, Five of Swords, Page of Pentacles in the reverse, the Empress, which is that's kind of Taurus energy, but it's not official. Take action for like how they feel about you. If like you're not, take action, peaceful resolution in the reverse, and big happy changes. And then how they view the connection, love yourself first in the reverse. Okay. So meeting your future spouse's parents, legal guardians, parent, whatever. First, King of Wands, clarified by the King of Wands. That's very funny how we have 2 kings. It could be 2 dads, 2 father figures, maybe. My TV is so hilariously in sync right now because someone on the TV just goes, "It's his dad." So okay. So yeah, I feel like you're probably mainly just gonna meet the dad or dads. But okay. So basically, yeah, you have the King of Wands in reverse twice, you know, because this is like the opposite side of this deck. Let's look at this. I gotta tell you, pile number 2 was like wild. That's a King of Wands in the reverse. Impulsiveness, hasty, ruthless, high expectations. Okay. I just get like, I mean, this is fire. They could have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in their chart somewhere. I'm kind of getting like, this might be the general energy. Like maybe you're hoping that a lot of greatness will happen from meeting their parents, their parent, but well, no, I can't tell yet if it's gonna result good or bad. I'm just saying that might be an expectation at first. I want to look at this though, because I don't really get this card on this side that often, or like ever. King of Wands. Where you at? What? Show yourself. Okay. This is inner self. So at night, the king's salamander companion has become a gigantic snake coiled around a green tree beside the throne. The snake does not appear to threaten or alarm the king. They abide in silent communion, respecting each other's power. The symbolism of a serpent and tree often speaks of choosing knowledge over ignorance. Because this is a nighttime setting, this king may have hidden concerns about things he has always taken as settled. He may find himself questioning old values and beliefs, political or social attitudes and such. Serpent wisdom can be unsettling, as it touches on ethical and moral integrity. Okay, honestly, what I'm kind of getting from that is it's like your future spouse and maybe their father don't entirely see eye to eye. I feel like they have very different viewpoints. It's like they're, you know, they may look the same, they may have like almost the same mannerisms, but I feel like their views and their beliefs are very different, you know, very deviant from each other. And I feel like there might be a lot of unsettled business between the two of them, you know, like just like a little bit of tension between the two of them. Maybe a little bit of animosity. Like daddy issues or whatever. Okay. I feel like this could be your energy, this could be like the other, you know, the spouse, whatever, the other parent, but it might be like, okay, I feel like maybe during this dinner, during this meeting, there might be moments where, like, you know, your spouse and this father figure have like kind of tense moments. They might kind of argue about something. Like, it could be like really small things. It could be over something that, like, you know, some deep rooted thing from years ago, from their childhood or something, but like it affects how they see each other now. It affects how they communicate with each other now. And yeah, it's just that they're just very different from each other. I feel like there will be some tension, some conflict avoidance happening here with this Five of Swords, and that's clarifying the Two of Swords. So again, if you're meeting like two parents, you know, like father and their mother, or, you know, father whatever, I feel like maybe I'm getting kind of like a feminine energy from you and the other person, you know. So like maybe you and the other parent both try to say certain things to kind of change the subject or keep it in check, keep the topic in check, and avoid any type of arguing or whatever from your spouse and their father, basically. Cause it's like I don't think that they full on hate each other. I don't think it's that intense. But again, they just have like, I feel like maybe one person is a little old fashioned and the other like most likely the dad's old fashioned, and then your probably husband or future spouse, like they think a different way. Maybe they work differently, like maybe one, like their father or whatever is more traditional for their job or something, and then like your future spouse is like, oh, I'm into more creative things, you know, like, or artistic things. I'm into my own business or whatever. I don't want to do the same things that you do. I just feel like they don't really want to be exactly like their father, basically. So yeah, there will be like, I don't think it will get to like a total extreme, but I just feel like maybe your future spouse might be a little lippy or something around their dad, you know, like when they talk to them, like they get a little bit of an attitude, and like you've probably seen it before, but I feel like maybe they're sweeter with you, but with them, you know, like you probably are still aware of like, okay, I know at times you can get a little bit of an attitude, or at times like it's just the certain ways you say things, certain way how you communicate things, it can come across as a little rude. So I can see where he was standing. I can see you know, where he's coming from, where he's a little mad or a little pissy, that whatever. I just feel like you are going to, you know, take action to kind of like avoid a lot of tension. And because I feel like you're kind of like the healer in this situation, like, you know, like it's like you have this way of words, you know how to communicate with your future spouse. Like it's just like you have this deep understanding for them. You might be an empath where, like, again, like you understand both sides of the story, okay? And I'm being called to say this, and I do remember seeing this in a reading that I watched before about, you know, meeting parents. It was a long time ago though, but I feel like what might happen, this is kind of what's happening here, if they have like issues with their father and like it's like a little bit of an argument, you know, like a little bit of a spat. Hopefully this isn't when you guys first meet, but it's say if you're around each other for a few hours or something, or maybe like for like a couple months on end, you guys just constantly make hangouts or whatever. Yeah, you're gonna start to develop an understanding for their dad, and obviously you already know your spouse. So maybe like, you know, you say you go into the kitchen and your spouse is just like, oh my god, like they always get like this. I hate when they do this. I hate when they say, and you're just like, okay, honey, like come on, you didn't have to say it like that, or you didn't have to. You didn't have to comment this. Like I see why they got a little pissy. It was a little rude, honey. Or like, you know, honey, I told you this before, like, you know, sometimes how you talk, you do come across a little rude sometimes, or sometimes you do get a little snippy, a little too sarcastic, and it wasn't the right moment, you know. And their dad, maybe they overhear that and they actually respect you a lot, because they're just like, you know, like they can see that you're a good voice of reason, I guess, for your future spouse, and they're just like, you know what, they're perfect for them, you know. It's like you basically kind of tame the waters, you balance it out, and again, you are more of a healer in this situation. I feel like that they're gonna see you as like a bright light in this connection. They're just like, yeah, like you're great for my son, you're great for my daughter, like, you know, like you know, like you don't fully hype them up and tell them that they're right when they're actually wrong, but you're fair. Okay, I just feel like you're a very fair person, and they're gonna see that. At least their father is gonna see that. Okay, so Page of Pentacles in the reverse, which is clarifying. I feel like, yeah, they're probably just gonna see that when they first meet you, like literally, like off the bat, they're gonna see it right away. So this is like lack of planning and short-term focus. But I feel like these cards together, you know how to problem solve really fast, like really fast. So yeah, they'll probably see that, you know, you're very quick on your feet and you know how to like de-escalate a situation, because again, I feel like they both have like kind of fiery tempers, and again, I don't think they're gonna outright yell at each other, but you'll notice a little tone in their voice and like a little shift in their attitude. You're gonna be like, okay, wait a minute, you know. So yeah, but you do it in such a calm way, like you take them off. Okay, I feel like this is another clarify right here. It's like you take them off and you talk to them privately. You don't embarrass them, you know, like your future spouse. You pull them aside, and you just like you tell them like, honey, you didn't have to mention this, you didn't have to say that. I can see where they were a little upset that you said this. Or it's like, I'm not saying that you're wrong, I'm just saying that there's a time and a place to mention that. You didn't have to say it right then and there, like we're just trying to have dinner, and you know, you probably just, you know, it probably was a little embarrassing that you mentioned that, or that was a little personal and they didn't really like that you said this or whatever. But yeah, like you know how to do damage control and fix a situation with like minimal preparation. Like you're very on your feet, you know. And I feel like they're gonna look at that, like the father, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna see that that is such a like a maternal thing in you, that you have, that you're like basically wifey material, that you're very nurturing and like very mothering, and not like in a you're babying them, but I just feel like this very healing hands type of energy right now from you. I just feel like you're just a really sweet person. Again, you could be an empath, a very mature person, a very divine energy, okay? And I feel like, yeah, like whatever it is, I noticed that there's a snake and a snake right there. I feel like whatever it is that happens, their father is gonna see that. They're gonna see you talking to your future spouse and being the voice of reason, and they're going to be very impressed by you, and they're just going to be like, wow, she's perfect for them. Like, wow, I can't believe how calm they were. I can't believe how sweet they were about it. I can't believe how easily they just like extinguish the fire of the situation. You know, like we were arguing and she just kind of pulled him aside, and she didn't embarrass him, and she didn't fight with him, she didn't argue with him. Like, you know, I'm sorry if just saying she, but like just with the Empress card, I'm just getting a lot of divine feminine energy, like really deeply a lot of divine feminine energy from this deck. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, she pulled him aside, she didn't embarrass him, she was very calm, and just the second she started talking, it's like you can see that his mood was soothed. It's like you're very soothing for your person. You know how to calm them down. You know, like when you two probably never fight or rarely ever fight, or if you do fight, you can easily de-escalate it, and then they basically are telling you, you're right, I'm sorry, you know. So like, yeah, it's like, and obviously being like this person's father, they're like, oh, I know my son, I know my daughter, like I know how they can be, I know that like even if it wasn't fighting with them, you know, like, oh, because they might not even really be like they hate each other, like I'm not saying that, again, they just don't see eye to eye all the time. I feel like they're both very opinionated people, and like, you know, like they know how to debate with each other, and sometimes I feel like they can just take it a little too far, or like, yeah, they both like to get the last word. Maybe they're both fire signs, or they both have heavy fire in their chart, so they're both, they just, oh god, they just argue a lot, you know, with each other. And like this doesn't have to be father, this could be mother and then your future wife, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like there's just like some type of masculine energy where it's just like, you know, it's like, I feel like a power dynamic, or like a power struggle, like both of them are very like kind of dominant energies no matter what the gender is, and they both always have to get the last word. They both love arguing. I'm getting a lot of Aries energy. They always have to get the last word, and basically they both kind of step on each other's toes with that. But you are just this cool, calm, and collected energy, and you know how to get them to calm down. You know them, you know? Like, you know them very well. So yeah, their father, their parent, yeah, they're gonna see that. They'll overhear it. Maybe they're in the other room. You know, they see you guys talking in the kitchen. Maybe like after you get them to calm down, and they go, okay, you're right. And then you guys just like hug or have like or share a sweet tender moment or kiss or something. And they're gonna watch that and they're gonna see it and they're just gonna kind of smile to themselves and be like, wow, they really are perfect for each other. They're so sweet. I've never seen my son, my daughter calm down that quickly. I've never seen them like, you know, basically admitting when they were wrong, you know, or whatever. Just like that type of thing. So yeah, like they're just gonna be very impressed with how you can easily manage a situation, like conflict management. It's like you're the HR person, you know, of this dynamic. But yeah, you definitely know how to calm down the situation. Very impressive. Yeah, they're gonna see that mother figure in you, the wifey material, and they're basically like, yep, she's a keeper. They're a keeper. I hope that they stay together. Okay. So yeah, I feel like they like that you can take action. They like that you're not afraid to basically step up to your future spouse and tell them like, hey, honey, I love you, but you were wrong. Like, I love you very much, but you were wrong right there. You said this. That's how the argument started. And yeah, big happy changes. I feel like this might also change how they are, like how they act as well. Like again, because like you're such a calm person, they're just like, I have a lot to learn from this person. Even as a grown ass adult that's like twice your age, they're gonna be like, you know what? Now I understand. I know where they're coming from. I know what they mean, and honestly, yeah, I should calm myself down a little bit more too. I feel like because you're being the voice of reason and you let your spouse see where they could be wrong, and then maybe eventually as you guys get to know each other, you can tell, you know, their father, their mother, where sometimes they're in the wrong. Then like I feel like it actually will help their dynamic. It will help their relationship more, where like they're not always butting heads, or if anything, they learn better how to agree to disagree and not make everything a debate and an argument all the time, because they'll realize it's a waste of energy. So I feel like that's the big happy changes. And then yeah, the peaceful resolution. Again, I feel like I said, it might be like after the fact, but yeah, you will kind of like, because I feel like maybe your future spouse, they know how to hold a grudge if you don't otherwise tell them, like talk them down from it. So, you know, yeah, they'll see the peaceful resolution taking place, and then while watching that, they'll be like, wow, this person's amazing. And then you love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive in the reverse. Yeah, I feel like yeah, that they'll see like, well, this is how they view the connection. Let's see. I feel like maybe, like, again, I feel like this is a lot about you. Like, they might see how much self-respect you have, and maybe, like, you know, you really do help your future spouse evolve into a more self-respecting person. Like maybe they have some insecurity issues, or again with this whole power dynamic, maybe it makes them feel more powerful to always be right or whatever. Like that's probably their karmic energy that they have, and you already know this. You know how to bring them down from it. So I feel like it's like you're kind of, you know, it's like you're a total light, like I said, like a total healing person, like a light worker in this connection. I feel like their parents, their single parent, the dad, whatever, they're gonna see this and be like, yep, she's really great for him, or whatever. Again, just getting feminine energy here. But yeah, this person is great for my kid. I feel like they're like, I hope that they stay together. I hope that they get married. You know, she's teaching him whatever, a lot of self-love, a lot of respect. And obviously they respect themselves enough that they have so much love that they can give to other people, you know? Like they're not dependent, they're not codependent, like they're already a very independent person, and they just have such a way with words, you know. So yeah, I feel like they'll look at this connection and it'll be very healing. Like they'll see it as a very healing type of connection that you guys have, and I feel like they'll respect it a lot. And then yeah, it in a way kind of makes them reevaluate what they do. Okay, because that's also self evaluation. So yeah, just seeing how calm you are and how you're not an argumentative person, it will make them reflect on how they act, and they'll just be like, you know what, our family, we argue all the time, but this person's so calm and soothing. We should learn, like, we could learn a thing or two from them. That's what I said. But yeah, so it's like this kind of relationship, it's like so powerful and such a presence that it's healing for a lot of people that are even just around it, you know. So that was really nice. So yes, thank you, pile 3. I hope that resonated for you guys. And I don't know how long this video is, but I'll see you next time.